Hi there. Welcome to Swing by for Joy, the podcast where we sit down and talk about everyday things that we don't always mention out loud, but deep down, we've all thought about them. Today's episode was inspired by an email from one of our listeners who goes by the name A. Here's what A wrote. Hi Joy, I just turned 30 last month and I feel like time is passing by faster and faster every year. Back when I was a kid, a year felt so long. Now it feels like I just blink and suddenly it's the end of the year. Why does time seem to speed up as we get older? A. What A is feeling is something I believe so many of us working adults, or should I say grown-ups, can relate to. Remember when we were kids, especially during school years, a year felt so long, like we were waiting forever for the school holidays to arrive. But now we blink and suddenly it's mid-year. Blink again and oh, it's almost New Year's already. And honestly, if you look back and ask ourselves, what do I actually remember from the past year? That's when it gets tricky. I wonder how far back can each of us time travel in our own memories. As for me, if I can remember what I had for dinner last night, that's already good enough. Too easy? Fine. Let's say breakfast, even easier, because I eat the exact same thing most mornings. Not because I'm a fan of routine, but simply because, well, yes, personal laziness at its finest. Now, let's answer A's question. Why does time seem to go faster as we grow older? Psychologists say that our brain perceives time differently at different ages. When we're young, everything is new. Our brains are constantly processing and storing fresh information, so our memories are filled with new events. This makes time feel longer. But as we grow older, life becomes more routine. One day isn't so different from the next. Our brains form fewer new memories, so time feels like it's speeding up. Another theory says that as we age, each year becomes a smaller fraction of our entire life. For a 5-year-old, a year is 20% of their life, but for a 40-year-old, a year is only 2.5%. And yep, that math feels a little depressing when you think about it. So A, and everyone listening, let's pause for a moment and reflect on our own lives. In a typical day, how much do you actually do differently from yesterday? Wake up, work, go home, scroll on your phone, sleep. Notice how exercise isn't in that loop? Yes, definitely not my part of routine either. And then tomorrow, we repeat the exact same pattern all over again. Maybe time isn't really moving faster. Maybe we're just living life on autopilot. So how can we slow time down? We can start by trying something new, something we never done before. go out and meet new people, and whether swiping left or right counts, well, I'll leave that to your personal beliefs. Spend your time on things that truly matter instead of just letting the days slip by. Every time we create new experiences, our brain forms more memories and time actually feels longer. And even better, make those new experiences positive ones. Create memories that bring you joy, laughter, and meaning. Because honestly, life already gives us enough stress as it is. Being human in the age of social media, definitely not easy. Finally, I want to encourage A and all of you to use your time more intentionally. Sometimes we wait for special occasions that we forget every single day can be special if we decide to make it so. So today, try doing one small thing differently from your usual routine. Who knows, that little change might just become a memory you hold on to for years to come. Thank you, A, for this thoughtful email and for such an interesting question. I'm sure many of us have felt the exact the same way. And if you like me to talk about the topic you're curious about, feel free to send me an email or leave a comment. Remember, whenever life feels overwhelming or time feels like it's rushing by, you can always swing by for joy. See you in the next episode. Bye.